The topic of the tax system in the United States, I often ask this question and I get very different answers. Where would you like to see the top marginal tax rate set at the federal level? And at what income would that kick in?
I don't know what the exact number should be, but here's the bottom line. Right now, it's incredible that after years of complaining about billionaires, private equity folks, and everyone else sort of getting off scot-free and not paying the level of taxes or the rates of taxes that their own, assistants pay, that hasn't been fixed. And actually, the Trump administration is making it a lot worse. So what the American people want is not just a bunch of, wonky politicians saying, okay, well, this is the number that we need to hit, but to really feel like everyone's just paying their fair share. I don't like a tax system where there's a bunch of people who pay nothing. I think it's a great idea for everyone to feel like they're pitching in. But it's also the case that you shouldn't get tax breaks because you have a private jet. You shouldn't get tax breaks because you have friends at the IRS. The New York Times reported recently that they've awarded about $250 billion in free tax breaks to corporations that just have good lobbyists connected with Trump administration officials working at the IRS. I mean, that's insane.
Well, let
So,
me put it a different way then, if I
sure.
can.
And I don't mean to avoid answering the question. I just
Yeah,
think, look, I don't know what the exact number is, I'll be honest with you. But clearly, what we have right now is not cutting it.
that's fair. And even without knowing the exact number, I'll put it a different way. For a long time, the debate in this country has basically been should the top tax rate be 37 or 39.6? That's where a lot of the debate has been. There is an approach, and to be honest, I am not a let's reach for higher income taxes as the first step. Let's actually look at what we're spending, where we're spending, et cetera, right? But there are some who would say we absolutely need a top marginal tax rate that has a four at the beginning of it. There are others who would say it would be five or okay. The other approach would be actually what we need to really be doing is looking at capital gains because the very wealthy are not really earning income which is affected by that top marginal tax rate anyway, or looking at a minimum tax that is stronger so that the scenario you describe isn't possible because you can't deduct and loophole your way down, even though you're in that top tax bracket. Do you favor an approach of that top number should be bigger than 37 or 39, or more the latter that I just mentioned about dealing with deductions, capital gains, et cetera?
I think I'm a little bit more in favor of the latter. I think that, it'd be reasonable to raise the top marginal rate a little bit. But there's a way in which we want to incentivize investment when it creates jobs, when it makes our society better. Like we want to make it really cheap, in percentage wise to invest in infrastructure, for example. I'm a huge champion of infrastructure. I have the most ambitious high-speed rail plan in America today, which, by the way, isn't even, candidly as ambitious as what they're doing in China. But that's the kind of investment that we need to be making in the future of our country, and we should incentivize that investment and make it cheaper for it to be possible in the U.S. But there are a lot of people in America who have so much money that they don't work at all. Like they're just sitting on wealth.
Yes.
And that's the problem. That wealth is not productive. It's productive in the sense that it allows them to have private jets and private yachts, but it's not doing anything for the rest of us. It's not doing anything to make the country better. And that's where we should actually be looking at taxing.